In this video, we're going to talk about the elements of a news package. Now, in this video, we do have an assumption that you know how to write a news story, and this is going to be more of the technical or the video elements that make up a video package or a news package. I've divided this up into 4 different areas. Things that are overall, things that would be at the beginning of the news package, things that would be in the middle of the news package, and things that would be at the end of the news package. So starting with overall, I want to start with talking about gnats. Of course, when we talk about gnats, we're referring to natural sound. This happens when you shoot your B-roll, or in what would be called in news, VO, you want to have natural sound. So make sure when you record your B-roll or your VO that you also record the sound and that you're not talking over it as well. A lot of times we run the camera and we talk over our VO, and it makes the sound useless. Here's an example of a package that has excellent gnats underneath the VO that the reporter is using.
Dozens of homes undercut by fast-moving water. The destruction was incredible. And so is the work that has been done to make sure the river channel can handle another flood event.
The next thing we want to talk about is what's called a split edit. A split edit is when the audio comes in before the video comes in. Take a listen to and watch this example of a split edit.
As the phone began to ring Monday night, initial reports showed that a landslide may be affecting a major portion of SR 14.
But after being able to come up and evaluate the condition, it is
You'll notice in that we hear the voice of the person being interviewed long before we see that person.
SR 14.
But after being able to come up and evaluate the condition, it is
That is a split edit. Next up, I want to talk about covering an interview with more VO. One of the things we need to keep in mind is that watching a human talk is a boring thing. So what we do is we show the human for enough time for him or her to get a CG, a lower third, whatever you want to call it, a graphic that tells that person's name, and then we get back to the VO because the VO is much more interesting. Here's an example.
And now, after battling through so many injuries,
You overcome it because it's what you do. I've always played. I love playing. I love being competitive, stuff like that. I mean, it's almost when you get hurt, it's more motivation to get better and get back to where you were and even get better than where you were.
And lastly, as you are producing the news package, you'll want to paraphrase. So certainly set the context of the story, tell the story, paraphrase in some cases what the interviewee says or your interviewees say, but also reinforce that with actual comments from your interviewees. Here's an example.
The circumstances surrounding the murder of 15-year-old Keely Amber Hall have been a mystery. Police found her dead in the Dixie Downs Park after they received an anonymous call at 3 a.m. that tipped police to where the body was.
She was near the playground equipment. We have been investigating feverishly since that time, and due to a lot of good police work, we were able to round up a suspect today about 2 o'clock. And he is a 14-year-old male of St. George, and we put him under arrest, and he's being held in juvenile detention as we speak.
The next major section I want to talk about is what happens at the beginning of your news package. First thing we'll talk about in this section is head pad, the pad that occurs at the head or the beginning of the package. Usually it is about 1 second long. Here are some examples.
It's just fantastic just to see everything just come together, from one shelf to another, and every single rack that we put up, and then the merchandise that we had to put on the shelvings. I mean, it's fantastic.
It was a brutal murder. A young woman beaten, bound with duct tape, and shot to death. In all, 4 people were charged for their role in the crime.
Notice that in all cases, there's 1 second before any important sound happens. The next is lead-in. This depends on what kind of story you've been assigned by the producer. If you are going to be introducing the story, in other words, if you have the lead in, you may not have to be at the beginning of the package doing a stand-up.
Dozens of homes undercut by fast-moving water. The destruction was incredible.
If the anchor is going to directly introduce the package, then you may want to have yourself at the beginning.
Courtney, Jack Daniel Brown is scheduled to be here at 5th District Court tomorrow for his preliminary hearing. Jack Brown is facing aggravated murder charges for his alleged role in the murder of Tricia Stubbs.
And lastly, you can do gnats at the head of the package. Here are a couple of examples.
Snow inside. No other way of putting it. It's just it's flat out low.
Dozens of homes undercut by fast-moving water. The destruction was incredible.
The next major section is in the middle of the news package. I want to talk about what is called the bridge, or a bridge. This is when a reporter discusses a new topic. There might be a walk and talk. There might be a stand-up, something like that that allows you as the reporter to get some screen time and to direct the viewer into other areas of deep thought within the package.
Police searched the entire play area, which meant sifting through all of these wood chips for possible evidence.
From the mountain all the way down to the road, look at the size of some of these boulders. And they say to clean them up, it might even take some blasting.
For the size of material that
The last major section we want to talk about is at the end of the news package. We'll talk about tail pad. Now, tail pad is the pad that happens at the end of the package. It's usually no less than 5 seconds. 5 seconds seems like a long time. I want you to notice as we watch this how long that 5 seconds actually is and how it does feel like a long time.
Reporting in St. George, I'm Russell Wild, KCSG, Southern Utah's News Choice.
What's important about this, though, is this gives an opportunity for the director, the technical crew, the technical director to ensure that they have something to go to before the video completely disappears. Notice there's no audio as well. Now, the next area is the lead out. This is dependent on, again, whether you will be doing the lead out live and then tossing back to the anchor, or whether you're going to be doing what's called a standard out. Here's an example of a package that would have a live lead out.
Oh, the structures have been built that we would ever build anything that would protect against a 100-year event.
And here's a package that has a standard out.
2 years that Ben is hoping are just a little smoother than the first two. Reporting from Dixie State College, I'm Mark Haas for KCSG Southern Utah's Sports Choice.
And lastly, here's a package that has gnats at the tail of the package.
So the folks in Gunlock have to sit, wait, and watch.